a second to talk about scissors. I know, it might sound silly talking about scissors, but if you're brand new to crochet or brand new to crafting in general, then you may not know some of these types of scissors exist and you're really missing out. Or you're using one type of scissor, but you could be using another type that would give you a better result than you're used to using, and you just don't know any better. So I want to take a second to show you the 4 different types of scissors that I think you're going to encounter, their purpose or their pros in using that type of scissor, and then what I recommend an absolute beginner crocheter or somebody just getting into crochet have in their stash, just have in their repertoire of tools that they can use. That way you can just have the best experience possible. All right, so the 4 different types of scissors that you're gonna run into are the standard size scissors, the embroidery scissors, the travel scissors, and then the thread snips. So let's take a second and go into each individual category, show what they do, what their strength is or their pro of using that particular type of scissors is, and then I'll dive into what I recommend you beginners to have. Let's start with the standard sized scissors. This is going to be the most common type of scissor that you're going to run into, and they really will meet all of your crafting or crochet needs. They just might be a little big. So you can absolutely get away with using a standard sized scissor, most common, but it can be a bit bulky. The embroidery scissors are going to be those fancy scissors that you see in a lot of books or a lot of images, or even some videos will use the very fancy type of scissors, and those are generally the embroidery scissors. Embroidery scissors, we're gonna look at this part right here. They usually have a very pointed end for precision cuts. So if you just wanna get in there and make just a precise cut, you can. It will easily work its way in. It works great with cutting thread, with cutting yarn. The cut is so clean, it looks beautiful, and you will be very, very happy working with an embroidery scissor when working with your yarn. It's just the cleanest cut you're gonna get. I'm super excited to talk about this next pair of scissors, which is the travel sized scissors. So when it's closed, it'll look like this, but if you open it, it becomes like an embroidery scissor. So it has that smaller tip here. It's not as pointed as an embroidery scissor, though the cuts are very clean and it's very, very nice to use with any type of yarn. But what's great about these particular scissors is when you are on the go, they fit in your pocket, they fit in your purse, they can fit in a little zipper pouch. They're just very easy to travel with. They're airplane safe, so if you want to take a project on the airplane, you're gonna love having this particular pair of scissors handy for you. But in general, if you're on the go or taking a project somewhere, these are going to be the best, safest scissors that you can use. And they work great. The last pair of scissors that I'm going to be talking about are the thread snips. Now, whenever you see a thread snip, they usually have a cover over the top because it is spring loaded. It always stays open. So whenever you cut down, it instantly will pop open. Now these are great if you're doing a lot of cutting in a row. So if you're like boom, 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 because all you're doing is squeezing shut and it opens on its own. You're not having to physically open the scissors. So this is great for short, fast cuts. Great for working with thread, sewing. You can absolutely use this with yarn, though it's not particularly this type of scissors for yarn because you're not using a lot of cuts involved. Though if you want to, you can cut yarn with this. It's just not what it was meant for. It's not its strength. Its strength is more for cutting material or cutting thread or cutting something apart. So maybe if you wanted to deconstruct a project, you could use this. But its strength is mainly for short, fast cuts opposed to long cuts or even cutting yarn. Can do it, but not exactly the best option out there. All right, so moment of truth. What pair of scissors would I recommend an absolute beginner crocheter to start out with, or in general, any crocheter to have in their stash or have in their repertoire of tools to use while crocheting, there are actually 2 different pairs of scissors I highly recommend every crocheter to have. One is the embroidery scissor because it's compact to use. It's not overly large. Like I said, the standard scissors, they'll do the job, but they're just really big. We don't need that size scissor. Also, the sharp, clean cut that these embroidery scissors make, you're gonna love the way that it cuts through yarn and how everything looks. Just, it's so smooth and just so crisp. You're gonna love it. So, embroidery scissors, and then the travel scissors are going to be great because most of us crocheters like to take our projects everywhere we go. That way, if we're ever bored or we find a moment where we have some time, we can just bring our project out and work on it. It's great, and these are super safe to use and on the go. You can put them in your pocket, like I said, in your purse, and you're not worrying about the scissors ripping a hole in your pocket, or the scissors ripping a hole in your purse, or in any bag that they are in, or even in your little zipper pouch. There still is a little bit of a worry that you might get poked with those traveling. These completely safe, and they work great to cut yarn. So highly recommend that any crocheter in general have these 2 pair of scissors because they're just awesome. All right, so if you want to get your hands on any of the pair of scissors that I have here, I will have a link to all of these materials in the description section and comment section below this video. So that way you can just have quick access to clicking it, purchasing it, and have it shipped directly to you. Or you can really find any of these pairs of scissors really in any craft section of any craft store, or any store really. Just look for the craft section and you should be able to find all of these scissors available to you. All right, if you enjoyed this video, you're gonna wanna stick around for the next video in my Getting Started series where I talk about yarn needles and tapestry needles. So just keep it going, hop on over to that video over there. I hope you enjoyed this video about scissors, and I will see you with the next one.